Welcome to the Car Guys. This week, Josh Malin, racing driver, will be taking us through the entire season review of the 2018 Max 5 MX5 Cup. We're going to take you through the whole season, race by race, and also what it takes to be a racing driver. Right, Josh, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. If you remember last time we saw you, and last time the Car Guys viewers would have seen you, was at the start of that season. We'll take people through the agony and ecstasy of this season, and then ultimately we're going to find out how well you did. First race was Pembrey. That was April 21st and 22nd. What was different about this season compared to the previous one?
The 2017 season was my first full season in racing MX5s. I was in a Mark 1, so the original MX5 with the pop-up headlamps. The 2018 season I was in a Mark 3. The Mark 1 has around about 115, 120 horsepower. That had a 1.6 engine in it. And the Mark 3's got a 2-litre Duratec engine, which has about 170. The Mark 1's lighter, but only by about 200 kilos. So the power does offset the weight. There weren't actually any people that moved up from Mark 1s to Mark 3s. Matt Tidmarsh, number 8, Lee Hollin, number 78, and Andrew Pretorius were the main 3.
So how did they react then? The old guard react to you swanning in then and suddenly shaking up the pack?
Qualifying, I put the car on pole by about 7/10 of a second. I won the first race by about 6.5, 7 seconds, much to their surprise. And they put a protest in to change my electronic control unit from my car to another car.
You put it on pole. They were obviously a little bit bristled by this. They were a little bit knocked, should we say, in common parlance. And all of a sudden then you had a challenge about whether the equipment was right on the car. Remember, this is in between race 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So there's a time limit, there's a clock, there's an actual race happening. Suddenly you've got to go through and you've got to prove that the car meets all the regulations. That's when Mission Motorsport came in and helped out.
Shout out to you guys because you saved my ass.
Out onto the grid, second race. What happened?
15 seconds. I won the race by.
So you won the race by 15 seconds. I bet they wish they'd shut up now, didn't they?
In third position, leading the rest of the field.
Maximum points.
Indeed.
And how many points for a win, just to let us know?
50 points for a win.
So at the end of Pembrey, you left there with 100 points in the bag.
Indeed.
Have you got a day job?
I do have a day job. I work at a local motor factors in Dorset called Motorbits.
Then you went on to Snetterton. That was the start of May the 6th and 7th.
Being the 300 circuit, it was the really long one, so there was a lot of chance to make up time where others were slower, basically. I put the car on pole again. I think by this time it was about 2.5 seconds. Even I surprised myself with that. It was a scorching hot day. Amazing weather, but I don't think it did the tyres any favours. I think I won that race by, again, around 5-6 seconds. And then race 2. Started on pole. Won that race as well. I think that's, again, 7-8 seconds. 2 rounds, 4 races. Yeah.
4 clean sheets, 200 points in the bag. What's your everyday car?
I've got a 2008 Mini 1.4, that's my first car.
Then we're on to Anglesey, that was May 26th, 27th. Anglesey, obviously a fabulous coastal circuit in northern Wales. Tell us about that one.
In qualifying, I found out there to be a problem with the car. I was losing power and I was running on 3 cylinders momentarily, and I had absolutely no torque, no power, and it sounded like a tractor. We eventually found out that it was the coil packs that were playing up the wire going into one of them. Race 1, I qualified second. However, on the warm-up lap, the misfire or the lack of cylinder got worse. I didn't want to race it as it was, so I pulled in, but I wasn't classified for that race.
Would it have helped if you'd have used some gaffer tape?
Maybe.
It's a yes. Everything in life is fixed with gaffer tape.
So unfortunately, I wasn't classified for that race, so I got 0 points.
Zero. Okay.
Technically, it was a DNF.
So pressure's on. What about race 2?
Got a fantastic start. Went from back of the class, so from 4th to 2nd instantly. Almost got 1st. And from then, I think about 3 or 4 laps in, I overtook Matt on the outside going into the corkscrew. I mean, that was a fantastic race from my point of view, coming from the back and winning. Also, it was in the wet as well, so you could get the tail out as well, which is great fun. Race 2 was a win.
Race 2 was a win, so you got it back.
I did, yes. I managed to salvage as much as I could.
Not quite the disaster it could have been with the dodgy coil.
Yeah.
And what would you say is the hardest challenge about racing as a Type 1 diabetic?
Being Type 1 diabetic, obviously your blood sugars are going to be all over the place sometimes. I know I'm a victim for that. They've got to be high enough to drive, but not so high that you're going to be in the 20s, which is not good.
Donington, start of June.
Yes, so I put the car on pole. I think I might have been quicker than a Mark IV at that point. When race 1 comes, I get a good start. Toward the end of the first lap, I was under threat from Matt. He comes up my inside, go round the right-hand turn, went wide, caught the grass, span. That left me to just drive off. I think I won that race by 4 or 5 seconds. Second race comes, this was a really intense race. Decent start. However, I was slightly held up by a Mark IV in front of me. Going into the old hairpin, I take way too much speed. I should have slowed down a bit more, and I go off. A bit cross-country, so it was. But yeah, I lose 2 or 3 places, and from there I went from 5th to 1st within about 3 or 4 laps.
Didn't Senna do that?
Yes, actually.
Pretty sure Senna at Donington did 5th to 1st, although
Yeah.
in half a lap, to be fair to him.
That was half a lap, yeah. On the last lap, I managed to dive up the inside.
Was it a heroic dive?
I think my dad would say it was quite heroic. I think he was quite impressed with it.
Heroic or foolhardy? What would he say? Let's just get a quid.
What?
Definitely heroic.
Verdict is heroic, folks.
And on the final corner, Andy comes up my inside. I see him, so I swerve, and then I cut back, and I win that race by about half a second. Very nail-biting race, that's for sure.
Wow, so that was a lot closer than some of the others. But again, you're leaving Donington with
a full house, 100 points.
100 points in the bag. Do you have any groupies?
No.
So this
Mallory Park, August 5th.
I think I qualified on pole for that race. It wasn't by a large amount. First race comes along, I get a fantastic start. Again, the heat didn't really help because it was quite a hot day. For some reason, the car was understeering going into right-hand turns. And being at Mallory Park, there's 2 long right-hand turns. And that's why I only finished 2nd in that race, and race 2 for that matter. I thought, this isn't right. Something's got to be loose. And it was the wheel bearing.
So, Mallory...
2 second place finishes. So that'd be 47 times 2, that's 94. So I only lost 6 points.
Who was there to support you? What was it?
There were so many people that came throughout the year. My mum, my dad obviously, Dom, my brother, Jordan, my best friend, Charlie, Pete, Joe, Kurt, Mel, Jack, Dan, Alex, Charlie, yeah, Nikki, and also Alfie as well.
Dave D, Dozy Beaky McIntyre.
If I have missed you, I'm really sorry.
Cadwell Park, September 8th and 9th.
Cadwell Park, this was a track that I'd never been to before. In practice I was fastest, and in qualifying I think I got pipped at the post by 0.2 of a second. So race one comes, I get a good start. And I managed to win that race by around 10 seconds.
Easy one then.
Relatively.
but on a track you'd not raced before ever.
Race two comes along, I don't get as good a start, so I drop back into third, then drop back to fourth because I went off further on in the race. Cadwell is a very narrow circuit, so it's really hard to overtake, and unfortunately I couldn't quite overtake Matt. He put the car in all the right places, granted him, so basically I couldn't find a way past. I finished third because I had a penalty for track limits. I think that was around about a 5 or 10 second penalty.
Who is your racing hero?
I'd probably say Lewis Hamilton. I love the way that he drives on track, and
you struggle to find a more successful modern racing driver. And obviously we know that Lewis Hamilton is an avid CarGuys fan, so what would you say to Lewis Hamilton should he be watching this?
I'd like to see how I'd pitch up against him, have a dogfight against him in two cars.
Rockingham, September 22nd, 23rd.
In practice, I think I was fastest in class. However, when I was going out, the clock faces on my car decided to die. The car was still running, absolutely fine, but I had no revs, I had no, it said that I had no fuel, the car was cold and I had no oil pressure. I come back in and I turned the car off, tried to turn it back on again, and nothing happened.
It was dead?
Yeah. I didn't qualify. Started the race one at the back of the class grid, and from there I think I was in 8th position, and I go up to 2nd. It was still a good point haul, but I feel that it should have been better. Moving into race 2, I start 2nd, I get a bad start. So I work my way up from 5th to 1st over the course of 3 or 4 laps, and I win that race, so 94 point haul, so I only lose 6 points off of a perfect score. And
so it's always, I guess it's a bit of a shame to go down to 5th, but on the plus side you do get a bit of exciting racing, fighting your way back up to 1st. And what's your dream? Where do you want to get to?
Ultimate, well, everyone's ultimate dream is to get to F1, but that's such a steep curve. I don't think that's going to happen.
Unless you're best mates with the owner of Patronus.
At the end of the day, the ultimate goal is British touring cars in terms of a realistic goal.
Brands Hatch then, the title decider, the final race. What did the championship table look like?
So at this point, from memory, I was about 26 points ahead. That does sound like a lot, that's like a Formula 1 race win. However, the last race of the season, or last race meeting of the season, is double points. So technically it's 100 points for a win.
So even having been very successful throughout the whole season, and you're on the last race, you can still lose it all right there.
Exactly. I qualified in 2nd position. I think it was by about 2 or 3 tenths. The qualifying session was like ice. It was a cold October day. It was raining. It wasn't the best of weather. There was hardly any grip anywhere, and truth be told, I actually spun the car for the first time.
Let's watch you spinning the car right now. Looked pretty scary.
After I spun the car, I got 2nd place in qualifying. We go out for the parade lap. All of a sudden I hear this almighty knocking noise from the passenger side front wheel.
Tell me the wheel didn't come off.
It didn't quite come off. The wheel nuts were loose, and unfortunately I didn't check it before I went out.
What did you have to do? You had to come into the pits,
I had to come into the pits.
I
literally jumped out of the car,
yeah,
grabbed the torque wrench, did the wheel nuts up. By the time I got out of the pits, I was like 2 or 3 laps down. The red mist descended. Knowing that I was at the back of the pack and lapped, it was so frustrating. I managed to unlap myself, but unfortunately I only finished 7th in class. I got the fastest lap, if that's any consolation, but...
So last race, it's double points anyway. Your biggest rival in the series, how did he do in race 1?
He won it.
He won it, so the pressure's really on now then.
Yeah.
So like you could literally balls up the whole championship.
Yeah.
Right there.
I was 1 point in front of Matt by
There was 1 point in it.
1 point.
1 race to go.
1 race to go.
Whole championship riding on this.
Pretty much, yeah. And
Pressure must have been immense. So qualification for the second race, what happened?
I started 7th. That was my finishing position for the first race.
So
right at the back of the class grid.
Tell us what happened.
I get a good start. Get up to 4th position. I then move another place up into 3rd behind Matt and Lee.
So still not good enough?
Still not good enough. I had to beat Matt. I had to finish in front of him no matter what.
Okay.
After a mistake from myself going up into the second corner at Druids. I lose a couple of places, so I go back down to 4th. He's in 2nd. Unfortunately, a couple of laps later, Andrew Pretorius, number 77, and Matt Tidmarsh, number 8, come together.
Oh! You couldn't make it up?
No. Unfortunately, that incident had shattered Matt's alloy.
So that mean he didn't finish?
Yeah, basically what
tragic.
happened was I do feel really bad for him because he put up such a great fight throughout the year.
That's
and the
proper
racing was
Hollywood ending stuff though, isn't it?
It is. I was in front of Matt. I'd overtaken 1st place as well, so I was now in 1st. I then go from 7th at the start of the race to winning the race and in turn winning the championship.
Winning the championship for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the cup. Bring in the cup.
Bring in the cup.
The spoils of war. Look at that. So, winner 2017 Class B, winner 2018 Class A, 40 races, 36 podiums, 22 race wins.
Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
When you just put that to me, that puts it into perspective.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well done, look at that. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review of the 2018 season and with our championship winner, Josh Malin. Don't forget to leave comments and likes, ding that notification bell, and we'll see you for another video next week.